are companies selecting like a specific methodology, whether it's something someone has proposed in industry or something that they've put deliberate thought around to say, this is how we're going to make deliberate use of our tag manager, or is it more of just organically, like we're doing stuff, or this is how we do development in general, and we're going to try to shoehorn it into our tag management methodology?
I think usually it is more organic. Like the messier situations come about more organically because we're iterating, and it's so rare that you have an opportunity to just wipe it all clean and start fresh with a new long-term architecture in mind. Um, but I did get to do that recently, where we burned it all to the ground and had a new data layer, fresh new launch properties, and it's frankly it's depressing that like I'm always saying, oh, when I just had if I just had the opportunity to start fresh. And then very quickly the real world happens and you realize that, oh, yeah, we're just changing where the complexity is going to be now, or how quickly, oh, there are problems in the data layer, and I can just put a quick fix in the TMS rather than go back to the devs who are never going to give me the time of day again after re-implementing everything for me. Um,
In your mind, are there, whether it's formally defined or not, are there distinct kind of segments of different methodologies you've seen taken towards tag management, whether it's kind of it's the Wild West, or it's very stringent and locked down, or it's very, no code oriented?
mhm.
Are there any commonalities that you've seen?
um, well, there is the kind of TMS within a TMS framework that I was talking about, where they're just have one big massive block of custom code that they have their own kind of framework within it. Um, Aside from that, I feel like frequently the architecture that I see work the best. I actually just blogged about this. I haven't copied it over to the 33.6 blog, but on digitaldata.tactics.com, where everything is, first of all, you have a naming convention from the start, because especially in launch and with data elements, you don't want to be renaming data elements because launch doesn't automatically update any names anywhere, and you have to go through and find everywhere you've referenced that data element. So a bare minimum, having a clean start's nice because you can start with naming conventions from the start. Um, but when satellite, which became DTM, which became launch, which became tags, um, was fairly new back in like 2013, 2014. Evan Lapointe, who's one of the great minds behind it, um, had slides that showed how other TMSs were from the bottom up, and we're designed to be from the top down, of thinking first of your requirements and going backwards from there, kind of. And I still kind of think of it that way of, this is the chunk of logic, this is the scope where this chunk of logic needs to fire, um, and keeping it as unredundant as possible of, this is just the little bit of stuff that needs to fire on internal search. And that's going to have its own location and rule. And then here's the stuff that needs to fire everywhere. And there are ways of combining that reduces how often you have to repeat variables or repeat code or rely on code. Um, though I will say, even that solution you can get carried away with, and sometimes it is just simpler to have 5 lines of if then JavaScript conditions.